crossover? Or do you, like, I suppose equally do you mind that there's a crossover or not?
I wouldn't with everybody. I think that would become quite messy. But I think that, like, he still won't ever know my real name, which is odd. But, and I said to him, he said, when do we get to be friends on Facebook? And I'm like, when I'm retired. I was like, then you can have all the information. But right now, not while I'm working, no.
Yeah.
And, like, he accepts that there's, you know, that there's that. But, no, I don't mind. But I think it's like taking people as people. I know with him that when he started asking me for advice on his girlfriend, I was like, well, this has crossed the line now where I don't think even if things don't work out with your girlfriend that you'll come back to me because we're too familiar. Do you know what I mean? And I was like, so it's not that I'm doing myself out of business.
Yeah.
So, and he was like a once a month for an hour client anyway, so he wasn't like one of my bigger ones that books 3 or 4 hours.
Yeah.
Which I think helps as well, I suppose.
Yeah. Yeah. So he's not, I don't know, he's able to cross the boundaries, I suppose.
Yeah, but I don't think very many of them would.
So in terms of you as a sex worker being an educator, how, generally speaking, not just with that guy, because with that guy you're helping him through something, or how able or how much of a role do you think sex workers have in educating sexually?
I would say for me it's more educating psychologically.
Yeah.
I am quite happy I've had some mental health training, let's put it that way.
Yeah.
I think maybe it's the people that I attract. I get a lot of people that have just come out of relationships, a lot of single dads, a lot of people who, if they're younger, it's hand of death because they're too used to their own hand. If it's slightly older, it's antidepressants. I get a lot of them. Some of it's about confidence building.
Yeah.
Like a lot of them think that they're coming to do really nasty things, and really what they need is a cuddle and told everything's going to be okay. Some of them start off with the whole thinking that they want a porn star thing, and halfway through you're kind of having to go, it's alright.
Yeah. How did the guy end up crying the other day? How did the guy end up crying the other day? Was that like personal things that he'd...
It was a bit odd. He was one of those ones that I had to be a bit patient with. He had seen on my profile, because I've got on it, if you want to buy me gifts you can buy me Lego.
Yeah.
And he was sending me pictures of Lego models, and I was like, okay, this is odd, but we'll continue.
Yeah.
And he eventually booked. There'd been a couple of times that he'd cancelled. He eventually booked, and he'd sent me a few messages in the run-up, so I'm like, are you going to turn up? Because usually if there's some long-winded messages, they're time wasters.
Yeah.
And then when he turned up, it turned out that his wife had left him like the year before. He hadn't been with anybody. I wasn't the first escort he'd seen. He'd clearly seen 1 or 2 while he was with his wife, going by the time frame and looking at his feedback on adult work. But I think he was a bit depressed. Lovely, really lovely guy. But he turned around and he said to me straight off, he went, oh, I don't feel comfortable having sex on a first meeting. So this meeting, you know, I just want to have a bit of a kiss and a cuddle, have a bit of a chat. And then, we really get on. I'd like to book you again in January. And I'm thinking, all right, fair enough. This isn't usually how it goes. Usually if they're that type of person, they book you for a social.
Yeah.
And then try. Yeah. I thought, right, okay, fair enough. And that was literally all he wanted to do. And then he was a really nice guy. Towards the end, he started talking about weird stuff. Like the book he'd read on the Holocaust. And I had to basically turn around and say to him, let's not end this on a weird note.
Yeah.
And then we started talking about him. But I really liked him. I liked him as a person. He was an academic. So he was about 10, 15 years old. He was about 15 years older than me, I would say. Maybe a little bit more. But really nice guy, immaculately clean, very well spoken. And then I turned around and I told him, and I meant it, I said, it was an absolute pleasure to have finally met you. And he just burst into tears. And he went, nobody said that to me for a long time. And he was just bawling. And my immediate thing was somebody cries is to go and give them a hug. So I gave him a hug and he wouldn't let go. And I was thinking, Ruby's going to kill me.
Yeah.
And he was just like, thank you so much. Thank you for, treating me like I'm a real person, so on, so on.
Yeah.
And I was just like, it's okay, and I was like stroking his hair like he was a kid, and it's fine, and
yeah. How, like, I suppose, yeah, I don't know, it always fascinates me how varied your role is in all of the different...
What is it? Is that different from other people you interview?
No, like, I think this counselling role, I suppose, in a way, it's like generically counselling role, is quite common, although I've got another participant in the research who is a counsellor as well as a sex worker, and she said that she hates, like, she refuses to counsel her clients. Like, it would be too weird, those two things crossing over. So yeah, it's just like counsellor, sex worker, obviously there's sex in there, there's educator, or helping through stuff. There's just like, there's so much that you have to do.
Yeah, well, my favourite thing is subtly teaching them how to go down on something. That's always a good one.
How do you do that? How do you teach?
It depends how bad they are. And whether I want them to return. If I'm just getting through it, then I fake an orgasm and probably don't help the situation. Generally, because I'm very sensitive down there, generally I'm kind of going, oh, if you go up a little bit, that's it, there, don't move.
So you're trying to reposition them.
Yeah, repositioning. If they do something good, it's better to try with the positive reinforcement first. Yeah. If they bite me, I tend to jump and go, don't do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it depends, because like I have a certain way, but generally, if I've seen somebody more than once, then they generally get it by about the second or third time. Yeah,
it must be a shame to kind of train them up in that and then them go off and be like, oh, all of my education.
If they go off and they find a girlfriend, I'm like, yeah, that's great. I feel like I've done something good for the world. I'm stopping other women having shit sex.
Yeah, thank you. From all women.
So, and it's how many guys under the age of 35 do I have to tell, no, you do not bang people on the back of the head while they're giving you head. Sex is not like porn. Nobody likes that. And Lisa have said that.
Yeah. When you work, because you're working with other people, do you still work from hotels as well, by the way? Or not?
I do when I'm on tour, because I still go on tour probably once a month to once every 2 months.
Okay.
Which I still prefer.
Yeah.
That's still my bigger money earner, because I usually come back with about $2,000.
Yeah.
Which I find better, and I can also let them slightly overrun without anybody telling me that I'm doing wrong.
Yeah, a bit more independence.
Yes.
So when you're working with other people, though, you mentioned earlier about BB saying, like, oh, you should cancel that one. Do you use kind of... Are they good for something, I suppose? Like
working with other people?
Yeah.
I think sometimes having, especially BB, because she's quite an ominous person at times, I think knowing that she's in the next room sometimes makes me feel a little bit more empowered to deal with somebody if I feel that they're taking the piss. They've only kicked one person out. So I think that probably helps. It also helps as well, sometimes if you've got somebody really grim, being able to go and put your money in and be like,
Yeah, being able to share, I don't know, experiences, I suppose.
Yeah, I think that helps. Sometimes you can have some information that they can give that is helpful. I would love to, I don't know if you see Katie? Yeah. I would love to be in one of her bookings, because she has the running joke that she'll have people book in for an hour and she has them out after half an hour, like with a big smile on their face. And I'd love to know how she does it. I don't think I'd ever work like her, but I'd love to see what exactly it is that she does.
She doesn't offer a second come, does she? She just does one.
She just does one. Okay. And she's like, they think they're going to get a second, but they're never going to get a second.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how do you do that and they actually come back?
Yeah. But then I suppose she's quieter than you as well.
Pardon?
She's quieter than you as well, isn't she?
What do you mean quieter?
In terms of business.
I think she does quite well. I don't know, because she says that she's busy, but whether she actually is or not is another matter, because it's not translating on the books. But then it's the same as in, like, what I do in in-course is still only about a third of my income that comes in. So it might be the same for her. I mean, for example,
she's got another flat. So.
Yeah, because I think for example, this week I've got my 2-hour bookings that are pre-booked in now. Probably get another hour in. And that to me is a pretty good day.
Yeah, sounds good.
Though I then begrudge the fact that I'm probably giving about 90 quid to BB.
Yeah. Yeah, when you could pay less for a hotel.
Yeah. But at the same time, I know if